Hi everyone, my name is Ms. Vorwick and I'm a special services teacher at GLASW. Today, April 2nd, is Autism Awareness Day. Autism spectrum disorder is a difference that can affect the way a kid's brain develops. It can affect things like their communication and their social skills. Today, I'm going to read a story about a kid with autism spectrum disorder, and then I'm going to explain it a little bit further. All My Stripes, A Story for Children with Autism by Shayna Rudolph and Daniel Royer. Zane ran home as fast as he could. "Nobody gets me, Mama." Mama hugged Zane. He began to tell her about his bad day. "This morning in art class, the teacher started a hoof painting project. I didn't want to get paint on my hooves, so the teacher gave me a paintbrush. All of the other zebras noticed and were making fun of me because they didn't understand why I wouldn't use my hooves." Mama said, "I bet that made you feel different from the rest of the group." Zane replied, "I did, but paint is just too weird to touch." During math class, the fire alarm blared loudly. While the children in my class were getting in line quietly, I hid under my desk screaming and covering my ears. The class left without me, and I was scared until the firefighters found me. When the class came back from lunch, everyone was putting their lunchboxes in their cubbies. Some classmates were talking about a video game I play all the time, but I didn't know how to start talking to them. I started talking about all the things I know about the game, but since I was staring at the floor, nobody knew I was talking to them. When the other kids walked away, I started talking louder. I really wanted them to hear me, but everybody was getting ready for science class. We sat down for science and we're learning about the planets. Our teacher gave us each a planet to draw, but I wanted to create my own. When it came time to present, I felt different from the rest of the class again. My teacher loved my planet and said, "Whatever floats your boat." I spent the rest of the afternoon looking for a boat in the classroom. Zane was crying. "How come all anyone sees is my autism stripe?" Mama carried Zane over to the mirror. "When I look at you, I see many different stripes. If one of them were missing, you wouldn't be the same. I see your pilot stripe. When we get lost in the city, you always remember the way home. Your caring stripe makes you act kindly towards others. When your classmates think it's funny to bully other kids, you come to the rescue. Your honesty stripe lets me always trust your word. When other parents have to worry about their kids aren't telling the truth, I know you always are. My favorite stripe is your curiosity stripe. When all the other kids are falling asleep in class, you always want to know more. I love when you come home and tell me everything you've learned. Sometimes you ask me questions and I don't even know the answers." Mama pointed out the rest of Zane's amazing stripes. The more stripes she explained, the better Zane began to feel about himself. By the time she was finished, Zane loved himself again. Zane ran outside, feeling the warmth of the sun. Finally, he felt proud of all of his stripes. He said, "There's more to me than just my autism stripe. It's just part of me. The other parts make the whole me. I love each stripe because without them, I wouldn't be me." You may be confused as to why Zane had such a bad day. I'm going to walk through some of the events and explain why they might have been difficult for a scholar with autism spectrum disorder. In the beginning of the story, Zane runs home to Mama and says that he had a bad day and nobody gets him. Social situations are a universal struggle for scholars with autism spectrum disorder. Zane is able to identify his struggles. However, not every child with autism is able to recognize or verbalize their areas of growth in social situations, and that can be a source of great stress for scholars with autism. Later in the story, Zane experiences sensory processing challenges. Sensory processing challenges occur when a child is overly sensitive to things such as noise, food, smells, textures, or they might not be sensitive enough to the point where things that might bother you and me, they wouldn't even notice. Zane experiences this when he does not like the feeling of paint on his hooves, and when the sound of the fire alarm goes off. Something that seems as simple to you and me as paint or the fire alarm can be very difficult for scholars with autism spectrum disorder. Zane did not know how to initiate interactions and communicate with his classmates. He was having trouble being a part of their conversation, and he wasn't good at making eye contact. Good social interactions require us to listen to what someone is saying by paying attention to volume, speed of speech, body language, and facial expressions, and where the conversation is taking place, as well as looking at the other person's perspective. It can be very difficult for a scholar with autism to make all of those factors into account. Finally, after Zane's teacher said, "Whatever floats your boat," Zane spent the rest of the day looking for the boat that his teacher was talking about. You and I may understand that the teacher meant whatever makes you happy, but a scholar with autism may have a hard time understanding what we call figurative language, or language that is dramatic and does not have its everyday meaning attached. Every scholar with autism is different, and every scholar with autism is special. They might need a little extra help from their friends, family, and teachers in certain areas, but autism is only a little part of who they are. Just like the rest of us, scholars with autism have a lot of really special characteristics. I hope you guys liked the story that I read today and kind of understand autism spectrum disorder a little bit better. I want to wish everybody a happy Autism Awareness Day, and we're going to keep celebrating throughout the month all of our scholars with autism spectrum disorder and just how special they really are. See you soon!